Um, the material entanglement um, is really very um, deep to think about. We in our daily lives we forget how serious that impact of material entanglement is. So now to get out of it, we have to take to the service of the supreme, Bhagwan, and we have to give up contamination of the three modes of material nature. By now we know now, we think we know, but actually we don't know anything. To give the contamination of ignorance involving pious and impious activities. The contamination of ignorance containing pious and impious activities. Once this is gone, then he regains his original um identity, uh, and becomes purified, just as a metal like silver or any other metal heated in fire. So, um, this contamination of ignorance is really very tough. It is ingrained in our being, and if we don't take it seriously, we have to lead an austere life. Now, austerity does not mean standing in sun, sitting in or cold water, or sitting on ice and meditating like the Gyanis and the yogis do, and thereby they try to curb their sense desires. So, austerity actually in the austerity in devotional service. So, austerity means that taking up something, and in spite of you not liking it, and whatever efforts you need to take, you are ready to take for that. So, austerity means that. So in devotional service, austerity is related to the, here we are speaking about austerity related to the devotional service. So in human life, one is meant to undergo austerity to purify one's existence. Tapodivyam putraka yena sattvam shuddhayet. Because of contamination by the modes of material nature, one continues in the cycle of birth and death. Karanam gunasango sangosya sadasad yoni janmasu syasad asad yoni janmasu. Therefore, the purpose of human life is to purify oneself of this contamination so that one can regain his spiritual form and not undergo this cycle of birth and death. The recommended process of decontamination is the service to the Lord, or the Bhaktimayi Seva. There are various processes for the self-realization, like karma, jnana, yoga, but none of this process is equal to the devotional service process. Um, and also the cultivation of yoga, or cultivation of speculative knowledge or practice of yoga will not be helpful. The word varnam refers to the luster of one's original identity. So the original luster of living being, who is part of the Satchit Anand Vigra, is the luster of pleasure, or Anandamayo Bhasat. Anandamayo Bhyasat. Every living entity has the right to become Anandmay, joyful, because he's part of the Satchitanand Vigraha. Krishna. Why should the living being be put into tribulation because of dirty contamination by the material modes of nature? The living entity should become purified and regain his swarupa, original identity. This he can do by the devotional service. Therefore, one should adopt the instructions of the Bhagavan, who is described here as Guru or Guru, spiritual master of all other spiritual masters. Even if we may not have this uh, direct the fortune to contact the Lord directly or personally, his representative who is as good as himself. You must find out such a genuine representative who is speaking his message directly. So that is how it is told that in human life, austerity is of prime importance and one must take it up. So the Lord will be happy and your life will be meaningful. That is the meaning of this. That is the purport of this shloka. Yat sevayagnihiv rudra rodram umana vijayanmala matmanastamah bhajeta varnam nijamesha sovyaya भूयादस ईशः परमो guruhu. And the meaning of this is just as I told you now, it is the same that one regains his original identity just by putting oneself into subjecting oneself to the fire, and that inexhaustible Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of God, and he becomes our guide, for he is the original personality who can guide us back to home, back to Godhead. So this was about the 8th chapter, 8th canto, 24th chapter, 48th shloka. Hare Krishna.